I don't know if aisle space. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, plenty.
For Larry Strauss, this is a pretty big night.
Hey, thanks for bringing the coffee.
No problem.
Thank you.
Finding his way as a fledgling political volunteer. Tonight, organizing a candidates panel for this year's big midterm election.
Yeah, sure, if you can find somebody to help me with registration. There's one more table.
Larry's no expert at this, but he's giving it a go. And all of it as a brand new Democrat in Texas.
We're having our forum tonight.
All of his life, Larry'd been a Republican, but last year he quit the party and joined the other side.
You know, we're all behind you.
Thank you.
Why? Donald Trump. Remember that march by white supremacists in Charlottesville, Virginia last summer, ending with violence and death? And remember Trump's comments afterward?
Very fine people on both sides.
I was not only disgusted with President Trump of the Republican Party.
For Larry, defending intolerance was beyond the pale.
None of the Republican Party stood up and said, that's not right. We disagree with that comment. We disavow that comment. What that did for the racists and the white supremacists and the Ku Klux Klan, it gave them credit. And I was disgusted. And that's when I started my transformation.
The problem here is that we're giving all the benefit to the top 1%.
Switching parties and coming out as a Democrat in Texas is huge. It's long been one of the most staunch Republican states in the country. But to Larry's happy surprise, nowadays he's not alone.
In fact, I feel more accepted than ostracized. I didn't realize how many Democrats there are who were my friends that I didn't know were Democrats until I switched. And again, I can't believe it. I mean, the Republican Party didn't stand up, but Larry Strauss stood up.
Turns out Texas is changing. Increasingly, there's a fresh face in this state, younger than you might expect, and not so cowboy. The suburbs of Dallas are growing at light speed, with all kinds of people moving here from other parts of the country and around the world seeking good jobs and bringing with them a new outlook on Texas politics. Want a glimpse? Check this South Asian grocery store just north of the city.
So is it fair to say that, in a sense, the future of Texas politics is in places like this? You know what I mean?
Of course. I think we've had a tremendous growth within the South Asian community here.
A long-time Texan by way of Toronto, Shonda Parbu's South Asian background is no longer an anomaly in this state. And as the number of South Asians in Texas grows, so too does their political clout. The message here:
your vote counts, and that you need to come to the polls, and we can make a difference. I think every time we do one of these events, the reaction we get is, oh my gosh, we didn't know there were Democrats in our neighborhoods.
Like with Larry, Shonda found the Trump presidency offensive, and it changed her world. Now she too is a political organizer, aiming to fire up fellow Democrats, fellow South Asians, to get the vote out, to affect change next time, even here.
I think we all lived as closet Democrats for so long. We just didn't get involved in conversations. And, you know, the neighbors are always putting on their whatever signs, Bush signs, whatever, and you just kind of, you know, you don't put up your sign because you don't want to cause any trouble.
Antipathy for Trump, she says, is turning that on its ear for the state's long-forgotten Democrats.
They're frustrated. They don't know what to do about it, but they know they have to do something. But women are mad. Women, and I think a lot of minorities, are starting to understand that this just cannot maintain itself.
And so it is that smack between a beauty salon and a martial arts studio at the local Democratic headquarters, amid the anti-Trump stickers inside, there's Democratic hope in the headlines. But can they build on that?
I pulled the language about, because it was kind of generic.
The day after Trump's election, Stacey Donald showed up here in tears.
I voted for Hillary, but I didn't do anything else.
It was the day she, too, turned political. Last year, Stacey ran for College Board of Trustees, and she won. The lesson, she says, for all Texas Democrats.
People are like, we have to get off of our asses because it's not going to happen on its own. That's what we saw with Hillary, right? It didn't happen on its own. We all thought it was going to. But things are changing here. It's like a big sleeping giant that's waking up.
I'll check.
Check.
Or is it all just a Democratic dream? Among the many friends of freshly minted Democrat Larry Strauss are those who remind him Republicans are still the majority in Texas. And yes, some bring guns to a poker game. Between hands, talking Trump, taxes, immigration, race, you name it.
And I'm talking about his latest remark was shithole or
How do
whatever.
you know he said that? Were you in the room?
I was not in the room, but I feel pretty confident he said that.
Okay, but none of us know for sure. That's right. None of us know for sure, and everybody's jumping on this as though we're a virtual survey. Would you assume that in court?
It's clear. Trump backers here 100% still back Trump.
I think the economy's doing well, the stock market's doing well. Taxes have been reduced. I don't see why for the most part, there shouldn't be a positive glow on the first year.
People want a change.
But remember Larry's panel for Democratic hopefuls? Make no mistake, they're all in this to win.
Hi.
Lupe Valdez.
I know you.
Good.
Among the candidates, an openly gay Hispanic woman and former sheriff.
There's 10 in my race, you know that, right?
Now running for, Texas governor. What does Lupe Valdez think of the Trump effect in Texas?
Well, I'm not sure, but what I hope is that he's the best thing that ever happened to Democrats.
When we first started doing the grassroots efforts.
And across town, Shonda's still at it with a fundraiser for one of the Democrats' great hopes in this state, running for U.S. Senate, taking on Ted Cruz, no less, and keen to win the hearts of Texans everywhere, Beto O'Rourke.
And that most important asset that we have, the ability to inspire people the world over who want to follow our example.
Embracing liberal sensibilities in conservative Texas and in turn being embraced for doing so.
They're putting up a sign and
in a state, perhaps, at a turning point.
What's happening here? There's something amazing and absolutely unprecedented in Texas, at least in my 45 years, where you have people who I think because they recognize that everything that they care about in their lives and their communities for this state, for the future of this country is on the line. And so they're getting off the sidelines.
But are there enough of them? Will it work? Can Beto and the rest of them reinvent this state? With midterms now coming up fast, Democrats in Texas, energized by Donald Trump, are set to find out. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Dallas.
Now, talk of a Democratic comeback in the state isn't new, but for big statewide offices, it has been a nearly 25-year drought in Texas. It hasn't had a Democratic governor since 1995. Its last Democratic senator left office in 1993, and the last time Texans voted in a Democrat for president was Jimmy Carter in 1976.